and the touch football match, a nostalgia game between Queensland and New South Wales with all the former Test greats. New South Wales defeated Queensland by 2-1, so the Maroons have not been up there so far tonight. But we'll wait and see now what happens as the crowd wait patiently, I feel, Mick. Although when we look back at it, Lang Park has been a happy hunting ground for Queensland in State of Origin matches. Of the 6 matches that have been played here, Queensland have won 5 of them, and of the 8 that have been played overall, Queensland have won 6 and New South Wales 2. So the record reads pretty well.
It does for Queensland, Bill. I just wonder, though, with the record, are we getting closer to a New South Wales win or not?
Well, I suppose the times when Queensland were dead set outsiders, but then they started getting to start as favourites, and I get a bit shaky when things get in that way. But there's a shot of inside the dressing rooms, very close to the dressing rooms there. The players haven't come out as yet, but you can just get the atmosphere. It's nice and tense in there as they build up. First State of Origin match was here at Lang Park in 1980. Queensland defeated New South Wales by 20-10. Bit of action coming up there as the reserves make their way out. No, they'll be the under-18 players coming through. In 1981, it was Queensland again by 22-15, and then the first of the series of 3 in 1982. And on that occasion, Queensland won 2 out of the 3 matches. They won the last 2, and then last year, of course, they won the first, lost the second in Sydney, and won the third by 43-22.
And we will never forget that one in Sydney with the super sopper and all the muck and wet and grime that went with it.
OK, of course, the Queensland team have an extra point to prove tonight, I feel. Coach Artie Beetson was overlooked as the Australian coach for the series against Great Britain, and Frank Stanton, his opponent tonight, has been reinstated as Australian coach after sitting out last year. Rather strange that they do pick the Australian coach before the State of Origin, but, well, it's been done, and you can't change that. I see the referees coming onto the field. There's a Queensland team coming out through the dressing room, all psyched up, ready to go. Brian Niebling, Wally Fullerton-Smith, Gene Miles, Colin Scott, Big Chris Close, Mal Meninga, Mark Murray. Through they come through the gate, and you'll hear the crowd and the fireworks go off, and the atmosphere really takes off. Queensland went led by Wally Lewis. Most people expecting him, this side of the border anyway, to lead Australia in the Test match, the first on June the 9th. But that team will be announced at 11 o'clock tonight here in Brisbane. And it will depend on Wally to see just how well he performs. He will perform well, but if he performs extremely well, he's just about home and hosed as the New South Welshmen start to leave their dressing shed. And the man who, of course, is leading New South Wales onto the field, that's him out there, is Wally Lewis's arch-rival for the captaincy of Australia, and that is the lock forward in Ray Price. There's New South Wales, Jack, Growth and also Conlon on the wings, Ella and Kenny in the centres, Thompson the 5'8", Sterling the halfback, Price is lock forward, Pearce and Cleal, a very important man for New South Wales tonight, I feel. Young, Wright and Roach is the front row. Well, some of these new fellas, Mix, the New South Wales blokes in particular. I talk of Wright, Roach and Conlon. Never played at Lang Park before, never been subjected to pressure such as this. But they'll know all about it in the first 15 or 20 minutes. Before you do that, there's a Queensland team just appeared up there. I think most people know it. Colin Scott, Bo Stead, Chris Close, Gene Miles and Meninga, Wally Lewis captain, Mark Murray the halfback, Paul Vaughton the lock forward. In the second row, we have Wally Fullerton-Smith and Brian Niebling. The front row of Dave Brown, Greg Crenescu and Greg Dowling. Only 3 changes to the Queensland side from the team that performed so well in the State of Origin series last year. Dave Brown, Greg Dowling and also Chris Close come into the side, and of course Broman, Tessman and Stacey not out there tonight, but I'm sure they'll be very interested viewers, watchers, wherever they may be. Okay, 2 teams out there now. Just looking at, as I said about those new fellas, Mick, in Wright and Roach. Wright's got a big job in his hands tonight. Yes, as is the man hanging him up, Steve Roach. Both these fellows, as you said, going to be subjected to this Lang Park crowd. And I tell you what, they've got one big maroon eye in the middle of their forehead. And they'll know all about it before this 80 minutes is over, I can assure you. There's the roar for the Queensland team as they run to the other side of the ground, running back across field. Meanwhile, there's Roach, you can see, from New South Wales. Referee Kevin Roberts with the 2 captains for tonight. He's got a bit to say to them on the toss-up over there. So obviously he's going to be going to attempt to keep as tight a control as he can in this match tonight. Ray Price to the left of the screen, Wally Lewis to the right. And he will know all about it too, will the referee. Looking down, who's won the toss? Lewis has won the toss. He decides to go from the northern end of the ground. in the first half of this match. That's another thing we've got to look at, Mick. For all of these players in the Queensland side tonight, they've yet to play 2 40 minutes of football. They've played quarters in the State League, but not the 2 40 minutes. And I know that Arthur Beatson's a little bit concerned about the last 10 minutes of each half.
Well, we've only had the South fellows and the Manly fellows had a bit of a run at it.
Sorry about that.
Yes, but not too many of them really, and they didn't come up too well under that, I might say. Although they've gone into a huddle already, the Blues. They know it's really on the mat. There's 26 players out there this evening vying for one of those 13 green and gold Guernseys. And I tell you what, there will be no love lost at all.
Getting ready for the two teams to line up and kick off in this match. New South Wales to lead it off. And it's their winger, Ross Conlon, who will be the man to set the ball in play. You'll know when it's kicked off. You'll hear a roar from this very, very big crowd at Lang Park tonight. Referee Roberts now about to check with the Queensland captain in Wally Lewis. Checks with Ray Price.
And we might see a little fireworks early in this match.
Well, we'll just wait and see what happens there. But Conlon on his way in from the southern end of the ground at Lang Park to set the play in motion for the start of the first match of the 1984 State of Origin Series. And that's Colin Scott taking it up. The man in underneath was Peter Sterling. Canescu dummy half. Quickly going to be tackled over there by Wayne Pearce. Away from dummy half. Fullerton Smith back to Borton. Borton lost it in the tackle. Quickly cleared by Young to Kenny. Then away to Ella. Ella quickly going to be put to the ground. Bowstead coming in and Mal Meninga there also.
Growth well back then for the kick and couldn't be picked up by Ella.
Kenny crossover then to Craig Young. Young held up just inside the quarter line. Roberts is he's calling Queenslander out already.
Dave Brown being called out. And the first opportunity for 2 points to New South Wales. Here's the little incident, and yes, Big Dave was having a bit of a chop at Craig Young for sure.
So there's the first penalty of the match here at Lang Park, and the first opportunity for New South Wales to open up with the point scoring department. Their kicker, of course, is Ross Conlon. Conlon so far in Sydney has had a lean time, but I know it's in the City and Country match. He kicked 5 goals and scored a try.
And he's around the corner kicker, Bill, too, which will be interesting to watch.
So he places it, doesn't mess around, Mick, and the ball is straight down. A little bit of a breeze coming upfield. It'll blow just marginally across his kick. Here he is on his way. No doubt about it, straight through the centre. New South Wales draw first blood at Lang Park, go to a lead of 2 points to 0. Well, Dave Brown or any of those forwards might want to mess around too much.
No nonsense.
No nonsense here with the kick-off either. Straight downfield. Wally Lewis ran up and placed it straight down. Running across field there is Gary Jackie, still going. A flying tackle coming in over there for Queensland by the winger in Kerry Bowstead. So now it's New South Wales down about 24 metres out from their own line. Sterling up as dummy half. Taking it up and being met head on up there. That was Roach. Dave Brown in there. So too was Fullerton Smith. Away from dummy half over to Price. Price a little bit high. Mark Murray going there. The man in underneath was Greg Canescu. Away from dummy half to Sterling. Sterling with the kick downfield. Back through the legs of Colin Scott. Referee to play a knock on. Don't know about that one, Mick.
Very hard to decide. He did drop it, but it went backwards for mine, and he was lying in a horizontal position when it went backwards. Very difficult to say that was a knock on.
Scrum packing down, 12 metres inside Queensland territory. Sterling takes it out. Crossover there then to Thompson. Wally Lewis in over the top. He's lost the ball in the tackle over there as Thompson. Taken this time by Wayne Pearce. About 5 or 6 metres inside Queensland territory. Craig Young. Over the top is Brian Niebling. The man going in underneath was Fullerton Smith. Sterling. Outside then to Roach. Roach 10 metres inside Queensland territory. Dummy half is Wright. Boy from Newcastle. Sterling. Then Thompson. Ray Price standing wide. Back inside. Ball rolling loose. Dave Brown, or rather Fullerton Smith dived at it. The ball's still going. Sterling picks it up. He's lost it. And the ball eventually into touch. Well,
a little bit sloppy from two state sides there, not holding onto the ball. I think they've got the early game jumps, and that's for sure.
Well, they wouldn't be on their own in that regard, Nick. Scrum is about 5 metres inside Queensland territory. Mark Murray will eventually get it. He goes the blind side. Quickly wrapped up over there. Coming in was Cleal. Bosted. That's the halfway mark you can see. Wally Fullerton Smith, head down, barging up into New South Wales territory. Canescu again. From the dummy half, Dave Brown. Couldn't break out of that first tackle in there from Wayne Pearce. Out to Gene Miles.
It's very noticeable the Blues are coming up. They're getting well back the 5 metres and coming up in a blue swarm at present.
So that's where Wally Lewis puts the kick in. It's back behind Eric Growth, and it's got a fine touch. Or rather, back in behind Conlon over there. And it's found touch.
And a good kick.
Well, he summed it up pretty well. Here it goes again. Conlon, no chance of getting to that one. It was beautifully paced.
He had him turning around, and it's 6s and 7s straight off the bat.
Sterling in. Penalty Queensland out of it.
Rex Wright, the hooker for New South Wales, down on one knee, and he's been pinged. Of course, it's a scrum, so differential penalty. Can't kick for the goal from there.
So we'll see Wally Lewis kicking for touch over there on the old grandstand side of the ground here at Lang Park. Canescu coming onto the mark now. Canescu over to Dave Brown. Mark Murray trying to sneak through. About to play it now. Downing dummy half. This is Wharton. Wharton crashing his way into the Blues. Lost the ball though. Cleal comes away with it for New South Wales. Cleal dummies. He's up over the quarterway. Murray went high. Bumped him off balance, but eventually Brown the one to put him down. He gets a caution on the run too, does Mark Murray. Sterling letting it go. Across over there is Roach. Roach met by a nice tackle by Canescu.
Queensland starting to play just a little better now. They've got over the nerves and starting to settle down to good steady play.
So it'll be Thompson up there as dummy half. Little kick through by Sterling. Lost by Brian Niebling. Gathered up there by Wright for the penalty. He's offside. So he is. Murray being called out for going high there before.
That's what he's talking about. He stepped inside, sir, says Mr. Murray. Tell you what, he was having a good go.
Wally Lewis about to kick for touch again. Hoping to get Queensland well down inside that New South Wales quarter. Well, he's not going to do that. It's midway between the quarter and halfway. Now they'll take the tap. Dummy half Canescu over to Lewis. Mark Murray, Wally Fullerton Smith, tackled by Sterling. Dave Brown, the dummy half. New South Wales have a lead of 2 points to 0. Brown broke out of Sterling's tackle that time. The man underneath is Ray Price. Thompson over the top. Fullerton Smith. Dowling. Almost up to the quarter. You can see it there. Canescu back over to Mark Murray. Lewis. Then Niebling storming onto it. Niebling wrapped up though. Almost snuck out of the tackle. Played it forward. There's no marker there. Ray Price is up there to tackle him though.
Good play from Niebling.
Roach over the top. Dummy half Canescu. They're 18 metres out. Back to Lewis. There goes the bomb from the 5'8". Carrying a crossfield over towards Eric Growth. Growth goes up. Close out after the ball rolling loose. They're all going at it. Still rolling loose. Growth ends up with it. Grabbed up there by Chris Close. So away from dummy half is Wayne Pearce. Over then to the big front row. Roach turns it back inside to be taken by Wright. Wright working across field. He's moving nicely. Pulled down about 5 metres short of the halfway.
Oh, got a good touch of speed as is Wright. They said he did. I didn't know. I didn't really believe it, but he certainly has.
Sterling to Craig Young, then outside to Wayne Pearce. Dummy half right. Yes, he moved well there, Mick. Sterling, Kenny. Gets it away to Conlon. Conlon tackled by Bosted and into touch. Little fella doing the job well. And he had, what, a break of a month. Came back last week for Manly against Canterbury in the National Panasonic match. And did very well. A few metres inside Queensland territory. The New South Wales lead is 2 points to 0 with a penalty by Conlon. Lewis away to Meninga. Meninga got out of Kenny's tackle. Now he gets it to Gene Miles. Miles up to the halfway mark. Kenny might have his work cut out there tonight. Here's Meninga. 8 metres inside New South Wales territory.
You need a big one from Meninga tonight. He's been rather quiet, but I can see he's all stoked up for this one.
Canescu to Murray, then away to the front rower over there in Greg Dowling. Wally Lewis, dummy half. On the blind side to Niebling. Niebling put down eventually. 10 metres inside New South Wales territory.
Arthur Beetson watching very interestedly there.
9 minutes of the first half gone. Lewis with it, throws it back behind him. Was it knocked on or bounced away? Knocked on, he says. Knocked on by Dave Brown. Looked to me as if it came off his knees.
Well, I don't know if we'll see it again. Yes, we will.
Here's Lewis, desperate to get it away.
Puts a basketball pass back.
As Ray Price went over the top, we missed it. So back with the action live, right on the halfway mark. That's post end. Gary Jack from dummy half. Now a penalty, Queensland up offside.
Oh, Mr. Roberts giving us a little bit of a caning in this department.
Now let's have a look at those penalties. Well, they're 2-all at this stage and scrum's 2-all.
It just seems that way, Bill.
I was just about to say the same thing. So it's Ross Conlon to take another shot at goal. And the first 10 minutes of the match have gone. Didn't produce the fireworks that some people would have expected.
Actually, the crowds, I think it understands. New South Wales have got a pretty good side out here, and they're going to give Queensland a run for their money, and I think they're quietly hoping Queensland can hold out.
So now it's Ross Conlon. You can get an idea of where he is. He can kick the ball quite some distance.
There's Wally Lewis waiting for it.
Conlon coming in around the corner. Already been successful at 9. He jumps in there a little bit at the start. He lets go now. How's the direction? Direction is okay. Through for another 2-pointer. And New South Wales have a lead of 4 points to 0. Back ready for the kickoff now. And this crowd may get a little bit restless if Queensland can't get into the scoring act. Let's see what happens, though. From the kickoff, that is Ross Conlon. Greg Canescu, the man underneath. Right from dummy half. Back over there to Wayne Pearce. A driving tackle this time. Man in underneath was Mark Murray. Nice piece of work. Dummy half up there is Wright. Over to Craig Young. Young is tackled by Canescu. Done a lot of work in the opening part of this match for Queensland. Right from dummy half. Swings it away then to the fullback back there in Gary Jack. Jack upfield. Bowstead is back there. So too is Colin Scott. Scott the man to take it. Decides to have a run. Plenty of light blue around him. Thompson the first one there to put him down. Sterling was over the top. He'll play it. Fullerton Smith dummy half. Bowstead. 10 metres inside New South Wales territory. The Blues lead by 4 points to 0. Canescu away to Greg Dowling. Dowling taking it up. Here's the man underneath. Over the top there was the front rower in Roach. So back to Wharton. Lewis. Dave Brown. Bumps away from the tackle coming in over there from Cleal. The two big men meet. And eventually Dave Brown down. Murray. Way to Gene Miles. Miles breaks through nicely. He's up over the quarter line. This could be the chance they're looking for. Inside to Morton and he's away. Morton's over. First try of the match and great stuff from Gene Miles.
Oh, beautiful stuff. And there's Arthur Beetson. Little bit of a nervous scratch of the head. But we said if there was one player going to give New South Wales trouble, it was that big, hard-running Gene Miles. And didn't he bust them nicely?
Let's have a look at it again. Away over there to Gene Miles, first one. Now, looking inside, reminiscent of last year, Mick, in this match. Borton took it early in the piece, and there he goes. Borton stretching out, and is over for the try. So it's 4-all at Lang Park. Here's another look.
Oh, it was really good stuff. Straight through, they missed him completely.
Got out of the tackle of Sterling there.
And this was great play because he stood them all up, and then the inside pass back inside the Borton, and I tell you what, didn't he skip away?
He's got quite a bump too of that tackle, Mick. They immediately got around him. Wally Lewis was calling very quickly for the trainer to come in, and he's out there on the field now. So it's Mal Meninga. Has the kicking boots back on tonight. Hasn't kicked for a while, Mal, and he just started back towards the weekend.
Tell you what, that's livened the crowd up somewhat. I don't think they thought Queensland could produce it. Here comes Meninga.
He's on the way. Oh, he's hit the right-hand upright and it's waved away. 12 attempts, 12 goals out of 19 attempts previously. Okay, so it's 4-all at Lang Park now. There's the try scorer, Borton, off his shin on that occasion. Sterling missed another one. On to Colin Scott. Scott up the centre to be pulled over 30 metres out. This is Dowling. They're starting to settle into their pattern now. Picked up by Scott, got it away to Meninga. Meninga over the top, there's Bosted, he's over the halfway mark. Bosted cutting back inside, but eventually Green got up, starting to go again, and Sterling was there to take care of him. They've really got the crowd going now. Back over to Murray, to Wally Lewis. Lewis to Gene Miles, there's the gap again. He's over the quarter line, tackled by Ella, and eventually Wayne Pearce from behind.
Great play from Queensland.
Here's Lewis up as dummy half. They're keeping the pressure up. He sends it right over the top. Meninga runs onto it nicely. There's Bosted. Bosted cutting back inside. Meninga ends up with it. And Meninga eventually held up. So back to Wally Lewis. Mark Murray. Murray trying to go himself, but there's Cleal in front of him. Cleal ended up stealing the ball, actually.
And up here, that's usually a penalty.
So, yes, it is.
Yes, but...
So away from dummy half is Wayne Pearce.
Oh, that shocked the Blues a bit, I'll tell you, Bill. And given Queensland somewhat of confidence.
Yes, they've really got it together. They started running pretty solidly after that. That's Eric Growth. Taking a few chances, but they were coming off. That's Roach.
There was some beautiful passing from Queensland, particularly Wally Lewis, picking them up on the move.
Here's the fullback in Gary Jack, putting the boot underneath it. Colin Scott is back there. He takes it safely. Scott starting to run now. Up to the halfway mark. Got to be upended on the halfway. Lost the ball. Craig Young ends up with it. New South Wales in possession on the halfway mark. Ray Price is dummy half. Price setting sail up the middle. Still going to lock forward. 11 metres inside Queensland territory. Way from dummy half is Wright. Wright put down. Tackler over there is Fullerton Smith. Dummy half Craig Young. Young over to Cleal. They haven't used the crusher much as yet, but this could be the chance. He unloads it over there to Sterling, or rather Jack coming into it. Sterling's the dummy half. Penalty. And they're going to march them. Back chatting.
Gene Miles having a little bit of a say, and Mr. Roberts not mucking around. And I tell you what, we don't want to be giving Conlon too many shots at goal because he's red hot tonight.
Well, he's been kicking, you're not wrong. 2 from 2 so far for New South Wales with Ross Conlon, the winger.
Tell you what, he hasn't been too hot, as you said earlier in the broadcast, Bill. He's heated up, unfortunately, rather quickly.
So here he is. Should be able to put this one over. Lewis not too happy, as you can see, stalking around there. New South Wales have picked up 3 penalties, and they've all been within kicking distance. And the crowd starting their familiar chants, which referee Roberts will hear a bit more of if it continues this way. Here's Conlon coming in. She'll be able to put this one over, which he does. New South Wales back into the lead at 6 points to 4.
And that could be a costly miss, that early one by Mal Meninga.
Here's Lewis going up. He was going to take the quick kick off again. He bumped into Ray Price on the way through. They have done it that way. It was Gene Miles who managed to kick it downfield. Peter Sterling is back there. Throws it across to Eric Growth, doubling around. Growth setting sail up the quarter way. Down. He missed that one. Dowling put one in on that occasion. That's Craig Young. They're 30 metres out from the New South Wales line. Wright is the dummy half. Over then to Roach. Roach unloading it. Conlon eventually going to be put down. He'll play at the dummy half is Wright. Back to Sterling. Sterling to Thompson. Thompson outside then to cutting across field Brett Kenny, but Mark Murray's there to get him and put him over.
Oh, and if I said Mark Murray had an injury, he's certainly not showing it tonight. He's having a ripping game.
Here's Cleal. They put him down, but they let him run a little bit. One man they've got to get care of very early in the piece. Sterling. Gee, a nice high one, but I don't know what it's going to do. Colin Scott is coming up, takes it, loses it, ends up with it, and play on, says a referee, another 6 tackles. Quite rightly so. So it's Gene Miles. Miles 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Coming in solidly was Rex Wright. That's what the crowd are going on about. Mark Murray. Murray, tackled by Sterling. Peter Sterling missing the tackle of Gene Miles. It started the whole thing going for Queensland, try-wise. That's Dowling. There's still a couple of metres inside their own territory. Little Greg Kinescu back to Lewis. Clears it across to Niebling. Vorton outside to Miles. Lost by close, picked up by Vaughton. Vaughton not sure what he was going to do then.
I think he thought it was a knock on and he was waiting for the whistle to go, but Robert said play on.
Here's Lewis kicking for touches, back behind. Oh, it's a great kick. No doubt about it. The boy's got class.
He's certainly got plenty of it. It's boiling over, Bill.
Scrum to pack down. Look at Lewis urging the team on. He summed it up so beautifully and he does it so coolly.
But doesn't the ball travel quickly and low?
In by Sterling. Taken out by Sterling. Across over to Gary Jack. Jack chased by Lewis. And eventually put down. Gene Miles coming in to help out. Thompson is the dummy half. Swinging away to Ray Price. Price upended. Solid tackle there from Fullerton Smith. We know he's capable of that. Sterling got to be lost over there by Wayne Pearce. Dived up by Queensland. It'll Lewis, I'd say. No, it'll be Meninga end up with it. Or will it be Lewis? It is Lewis. So Niebling from dummy half to Vaughton. Vaughton away to Mark Murray. Murray starting to move, dodging through. Here's Colin Scott into the action. Scott pulled down about 4 or 5 metres out. Chris close up as dummy half. The Maroons putting on the pressure again. This is Gene Miles. Miles put down a couple of metres out. Kinescu is the dummy half. Going himself, head down, can't get through. Craig Young from one side. Back over there to Mark Murray. Murray away to Niebling. Niebling down right in front of the post. Final tackle coming up.
He was looking for Murray on that occasion.
There's Murray putting it up, and I think it's going to go backwards. It is taken by Lewis. He went to clear it and quickly taken over there by Steve Ella. So it's New South Wales in possession. Well, they were going to get it anyway, so...
That's one way of looking at it, but what a pity Queensland couldn't have spread it towards the flanks on that occasion.
So New South Wales bringing it up just on the quarter line. That is the front row Roach. Dummy half is Cleal. Thompson inside to Growth. Growth 25 metres out from the New South Wales line. Craig Young. Pearce then on to Ella. Ella nicely tackled by Lewis. Final tackle. Wait for the kick. Away from dummy half goes Pearce. Now he lets it go to Roach. They're not quite sure where they're going. Craig Young puts the kick in. It bounces off Sterling. Dived up by Dowling. And Queensland have got it. And they'll take it up from here. This is Dave Brown to Vaughton. Gee, if they'd have been able to clear, they could have made it interesting. Greg Kinescu, the dummy half. Brian Niebling. Niebling with the dummy half in as Kinescu. Kinescu goes himself, was looking for Dowling coming through. He was coming through, but decided to go with it himself. Now Dowling, over to Lewis, then away to Mark Murray. Murray on to Gene Miles, but it's intercepted but knocked down by Brett Kenny. Just as well.
Oh, dear me, if that pass had been about a split second earlier.
Gene Miles was away.
He was gone. Here it is on the replay. Look at it.
Ooh.
Oh,
Kenny just cut it off.
It just floated that fraction of a second too long.
Going to be a win against the feed, but a penalty to Queensland. Put across the mark. Rex Wright, the New South Wales hooker, being spoken to now by referee Roberts. Roberts having quite a chat to the New South Wales hooker. The boy from Newcastle, played with the country seconds, ends up in the New South Wales team. Lewis will kick for touch. Goes through the motions. And now they'll take the tap from there. And still a chance to put on pressure. 17.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Dave Brown away then to Kinescu. Puts his head down. Up his dummy half this time is Fullerton Smith to Lewis. Lewis trying to work his way through, but the tackle of Pearce will take care of him. Dummy half is Kinescu. Kinescu across to Murray. Murray outside to Dowling. New South Wales leading by 6-4. Kinescu dummy half. Back over to Meninga. He turns it back inside to Fullerton Smith. Fullerton Smith about 7 or 8 metres out. Rather from dummy half. A big long pass on to Brian Niebling. Niebling out of a couple. Still going. Here's the final tackle with Colin Scott up as the dummy half. Over to Wally Lewis. Lewis with the little kick up high. Players coming everywhere. Meninga going forward. That's a try. Bostad has it. Bostad in.
That's a try to Queensland.
Little Kerry Bostad underneath.
Beautiful bomb from Wally Lewis. And he was bowled over well and truly after it. Frank Stanton starting to look worried there a little. Queensland on the comeback trail.
Let's have a look at this try now. It's a little fella, Boasted, going in, but there's Lewis. Not as high as the normal bombs. Now, where's Boasted? He must come from there. He is coming in on the side now. Meninga goes up. Jack is there, straight into his hands and over underneath the post. Head on will make interesting viewing too. Let's have a look at it now. There's Lewis. Away he goes.
Bowled over.
And up goes fullback Gary Jack. Meninga is there too. Boasted said, hello, it is Christmas. And he's over underneath the post.
Just a smidgen early was Christmas, but just what Queensland needed. Let's hope Meninga can put this one over.
Well, he should be able to throw it over from there. He's right in front of the post. There's the kick, and there's no doubt about it this time. Queensland have a lead over New South Wales. 10 points to 6. 16 minutes remaining. It's to none at the moment here at Lang Park. That bomb, Mickey didn't put it up as high as normally, but it was beautifully placed. There's Chris Close going for a run. He must be getting a little frustrated out on the wing. He likes it when it's nice and tough. Dave Brown straight ahead. Roach there to take care of him. Canescu to dummy half. Paul Wharton. Wharton stepping back inside. He ended up with Roach over the top, and going in underneath that time was Wayne Pearce. Here's Gene Miles driving it deep down into New South Wales territory, but Gary Jack back there to take it. Jack starting to move. Meninga and Burry both missed him. He was missed again that time by Dowling, but eventually two Queenslanders coming in to take care of him, and that's Niebling and also Wharton.
He usually beats the first man. He's a dangerous player. He runs much faster than it looks.
Both gets away from Chris Close, but getting it a touch, I would say. Yes, it's no touch judge flag going up. Gene Miles, the tackler. Sterling away to Craig Young. Young put over midway between the quarter and halfway down in Queensland territory, right from dummy half to Sterling. Thompson cuts out clear, away to Jack. Jack gets it on to Kenny, juggles it. That is eventually put down, and who's on the spot but Wally Lewis. He'll play it. Gary Jack from dummy half, over to Sterling. Back inside to Ella. Ella moving nicely. The tackle there that just knocked him off balance was won by Wally Lewis, who got a bit of a bump on the head on the way through. There's Sterling. He's going to put up the bomb, but they're not travelling too well. They go very high, but don't go too far ahead. And players have to stand and wait for it to come down, and that's got to be a player offside.
He was standing low.
And Ray Price was ropeable with that player. Absolutely ropeable.
Basically, it's let Queensland off the hook. And there's the New South Wales camp, not as jubilant as it was a little earlier.
Certainly isn't. Here they go, up. Rolls
Roach.
away. It was Roach.
He couldn't get rid of it fast enough.
Well, he wanted to disappear in a hole in the ground after that. So now it's Paul Wharton to kick the touch. Queensland leading by 10 points to 6. Or Lewis, rather. Wharton was back there with him. Of course, it's Lewis. Too much excitement, Mick.
I tell you what, they're giving us plenty now, Queensland.
That's Dave Brown. Dummy half is Canescu. Wally Fullerton Smith, not afraid to take it up. Meet the challenge. They're midway between the quarter and halfway down in their own territory, Queensland. That's Dowling. Eventually pulled back over there by Roach. Dummy half Canescu. Mark Murray. Not sure where he was going. He was going to go the short side there, then back into the forwards. He went everywhere. Lewis cuts out Meninga. Way to Gene Miles. Gives him a bit of room to move, and why not? Away to Chris Close, and he's dropped it. Regathers, loses it. Meninga goes at it, so that'll force the scrum to pack down about 10 metres inside Queensland territory.
Oh, Gene Miles is dangerous every time he touches the ball, Bill. He's carving them up.
No wonder Lewis is going for the long pass to cut out Meninga and give him that little bit of extra room. Well, he did on that occasion anyway. Sterling to take it out. Ooh, round the open side. Fullerton Smith there, and it had to be a penalty. So now it'll be New South Wales.
Here's the replay of it, and of course,
there he is.
Fullerton Smith. He was camped there. Pitched the tent and all.
So it'll be Steve Ella to kick the touch. 12 minutes remaining in the first half. A reminder too, at half-time, we'll have our panel back in the studio to discuss the match so far, headed by David Wright. We'll also have Barry Muir and Greg Oliphant there. So 3 internationals back there to go through that first half for you, and also a complete summation of the match, including our NEC try of the match. And that's a recorder plus a 300 movie swap package from Electronic Sales and Rentals. Okay, let's see what happens here. Now, this is the danger period coming up, Mick. 11.5 minutes remaining in the half, and New South Wales camp down on the line. That's Roach. Very close to that line is Roach.
Remember, our fellows aren't used to 40-minute halves.
All right, here we'll go, and Sterling should be the one to put it up. Now he's going to try and find a way through. Got away, it was lost. Bosted coming through. Gary Jack with it, knocked over by Meninga. But there was a knock-on try to that anyway.
Great work from Meninga. He thought maybe they were going to play on and play the advantage.
Didn't take any chances, did he?
Arthur's going for the packet again.
Let's have another look at that one now. There's Sterling.
I thought it might have touched. No, it touched the Blues player and went forward, so it was definitely forward. Penalty from this scrum and takes the pressure right off Queensland.
The player it was Noel Cleal on that occasion that it came off. So Ollie Lewis now will kick the touch.
Just as well they put that one down, Bill, actually.
So play moves up to 25 metres out from the Queensland line. Canescu onto the mark. Over to Greg Dowling. Dowling charging his way through. Can he get it to Bosted? He can. Bosted coming up to Gary Jack. He's away from Jack. Has he got enough pace? No. Dived up from behind and pulled down nicely. Good piece of work there by Wayne Pearce. But Queensland on the go. Canescu back to Murray. Murray to Lewis. Lewis Meninga. Meninga sending a long one out. It'll bounce over to Chris Close. He picks it up on the bounce. And eventually held up this time by Thompson in the tackle. 25 metres out from the New South Wales line. Great tackle there by Pearce. That's Colin Scott.
Saved a certain try, and there was a quick flash of what happened to Stanton in the box too.
Back over to Lewis again. Lewis onto Dowling. Dowling with a nice short one there to Meninga. Away to Bosted. Bosted cutting back inside, but he's pulled up there. He'll get up to play it though. Dummy half Lewis. He works around the blind side. Goes for the corner and he's in. Lewis over in the corner. Took it so quickly from the dummy half. Raced around the blind and is over in the corner.
That's the one, and there goes the bang for a great try from Lewis. That's the one Queensland wanted. About 9 minutes to half-time, and just what the doctor ordered.
14 points to 6, the Queensland lead at the moment. Here it is again. Look at Lewis, stands there, whoop, round he goes. Too late, coming across was Cleal. Lewis diving for the corner. Referee Roberts had a look to check with a touch judge. No worries about it. He was a try for sure. And a Queensland lead of 14 to 6, and they are jubilant out there.
And well, they might be. I tell you what, 3 tries to 0. That's pretty good going.
Well, that's a fair indication of superiority, I guess.
Oh, it is. I tell you what, while they're watching Miles, Lewis is starting to have a picnic.
And, of course, what about that run of Greg Dowling's? Lewis calling for the support from his players now. He knows there's 9 minutes to go to half-time.
It was a lovely pass because he took 2 players out and popped it to Boosted, who had to step inside and was just touched and then started to scoot away, and then Pearce picked him up. I tell you what, he must have a bit of toe.
I think that touch just took enough off him, Mick, to just put him off a little bit off balance. There's a great shot of Mel Meninga and what faces him in front. It's a long way to that crossbar.
You could call it Tipperary, couldn't you, from there?
You'd need to cut lunch and everything to get there. He's going to miss it. It'll fall short. He sort of jabbed at that one, didn't really get underneath it. But 14 points to 6, the lead for Queensland at the moment, and there's 8 minutes remaining in this first half of the match. Well, the crowd have had plenty to cheer about after a bit of a slow start.
Yes, they were beginning to think, I feel, that New South Wales were starting to get the edge because they were handling the ball and controlling the ball. Oh dear, that's a dodgy sort of a pass from Boosted.
Particularly back in that in-goal area. Gene Miles will pick it up and he'll run his way out. And just as well. But of course you can't relax against a team like this New South Wales one. They've only got to get a try or two and Conlon a couple of goals, and wham, they're right back into it. So Dowling.
The Queensland pack seems to be handling itself quite well.
Doing it extremely well at this stage. That's Needling. And for those people, Mick, that said there wasn't any running forwards there, they must have suddenly appeared from somewhere.
Well, actually, I was one of them, Bill, but they're handing the short pass on beautifully. I was about to say Dave Brown's gone a little quiet, but there he's popped up.
There's Lewis driving it downfield. Gary Jack back there, so too is Eric Growth. Jack will let it bounce and Growth can have it. Growth starting to run. Oh, yes, nice tackle there. Borton over the top. In underneath was Wally Lewis. Gary Jack. Jack taken care of midway between the quarter and halfway down in New South Wales territory. Away from dummy half is Wright. Dummy half waiting for it this time is Thompson. We haven't seen much of him, Mick.
No.
Maybe they were hoping they wouldn't see much of him, but more of their outside backs. Here's Noel Cleal. pressure went too far that time.
Going across field for the post part.
And 3 of them there to get him. This is Sterling. Long pass. This is Thompson.
No, it looks like the lock
Price,
forward.
rather, yes. Back inside it goes to Pearce. Pearce away then to the lock forward. Price banged over there. Chris Close coming right across from this wing. Oh, gee, that was close. And Queensland had up with the ball.
Oh, I tell you what, that was great defence, because I'd say Price took it too cheaply. He should have been long gone and over the line. Great defence from Queensland, particularly Close.
Ray Price claiming that he was a chance of stealing it. Look at Price. The jersey's gone. Everything's happened. He's a warrior and a half, that fella. He looks like looks like Mad Max now.
Well, I haven't seen the movie, but I'll take your word for it, Bill Boy.
So now, down receiving attention is Lewis, I feel.
Here's the replay, but Price is giving the old head a bit of a workover there.
Yes, that's Lewis, the man on the ground.
And I remember in the club game, Wally had a little bit of trouble with the neck, Bill, going back. And, well, let's hope he's all right.
Gee, that was a big bust down the far side. As you said, it was Ray Price. He was prominent all the way.
But then when he got the ball and seemed to get in the open, he seemed to idle. I tell you what, he didn't idle for too long. Close hit him like a blockbuster.
He'd have known all about it. Lewis down receiving some attention. There's Ray Price. And he's a competitor and a half, that fellow. Lewis a bit of trouble with the neck at the moment. He get up and play it. Arthur Beetson rather concerned, I feel. Lewis back onto his feet to the roar of the crowd. Just under 6 minutes remaining in this first half. And just as well, Close was over there to knock over Ray Price.
Oh, he came from the clouds. And Price had been a man outside, if I remember, and a man inside, and didn't pass to either. Didn't get much of a chance, I might add.
Converted try by New South Wales there would have made it very interesting, Michael.
Yes, very dodgy indeed.
Here's Gene Miles kicking downfield. That's Gary Jack. Jack on the halfway mark. Now starting to move, the little fullback. Lewis is over there to start off the tackle. It was finished off by Canescu. Rex Wright goes the blind side. Canescu and Bosted combine to put him over. But that's the Queensland quarter line, you can see. Craig Young outside then to Cleal. On the quarterway. Price going himself. Niebling over the top. Horton underneath. Sterling the dummy half. Queensland's lead is 14-6. This is Thompson. Thompson over to Ella. Ella got away from the tackle of Meninga. Picked up by Miles and Murray.
Murray's having a great cover defending game. He
Thompson,
delights.
Sterling. Sterling putting it up. How's this one? That one will be back over the dead ball line. Yes, it is. Well, the other ones have been shorter, and that one was just too long. Colin Scott back there to steer it over, and Frank Stanton and Arthur Beetson. Different thoughts running through both of their minds at this stage. I'd say fresh in Arthur's mind is Chris Close's tackle on Ray Price. Canescu. Ryan Niebling. Losing it in the tackle, but dived on, but that'll be a knock-on.
The crowd not agreeing, but on that occasion, they were wrong.
Scrum is about 30 metres out from the Queensland line. Sterling to Thompson. Over to Ella. Ella doesn't get away from Meninga this time. Eric Growth. Thompson. Growth around again.
That Queensland defence is rock hard. Growth into the shoulder.
Time off, says the referee Roberts coming in. And Alf Richards, New South Wales and Australian trainer, coming onto the field. There's Growth in. Might have hit his shoulder on the knee there of Dave Brown, would he?
I don't know where, Bill, but he's not feeling the best at all.
So it's a half-time lead at this stage for Queensland of 14-6.
Price is there also.
3 tries for Queensland by Vaughton, Bosted and Lewis. Meninga 1 goal from 3 attempts and 1 sitter right in front. For New South Wales, Conlon is their scorer. 3 goals from 3 attempts.
Pat Jarvis is the forward reserve and Brian Hetherington is the back reserve for New South Wales, but Growth is up.
So Growth to play the ball. 30 metres out from the Queensland line, right away from dummy half. Gee, they've left Growth posted as a dummy half. That's a big help to him. Sterling over to Young. Coming up the centre there was the front rower in Roach. Pearce it was, sorry, that's Thompson with it now. On to Weller. Turning it back inside to Cleal. Cleal away to Sterling. Sterling on to Pearce. Pearce knocked over just inside the Queensland quarter line. The final tackle is on its way. Back on to Sterling. Sterling with a grubber kick this time. He's given away the bombs. He can't handle those too well at the moment. Colin Scott back there for the Maroons. So he'll play it. And Greg Kinescu is the dummy half. Just under 3 minutes remaining in the first half.
There's Hetherington warming up for New South Wales.
So it's Fullerton Smith away from dummy half. Ryan Niebling. Fullerton Smith. Tackler up there was Wright. Craig Young into it also. Dave Brown to Lewis. Lewis going through and then getting his kick in under a bit of pressure. Straight to Eric Growth though. Growth runs straight into a heap of Queensland players. Header by Brian Niebling. Chris Close there also. Right from dummy half over to Young. Then to Gary Jack. Thompson away to Kenny. Kenny on to Conlon. Got away from Bosted. Oh, collided with Gary Jack. The ball rolled loose. Going to be picked up this time by Gene Miles. Kenny hanging on that occasion there. Not letting him play the ball. And it's a penalty.
And just under 2 minutes to go, and this takes the pressure off. Yes, he wouldn't let him go at all. Hanging on like grim death. This is what happened.
Collision.
Oh dear.
Gary Jack straight into Conlon.
And that shouldn't happen in senior football, let alone representative football.
1.5 minutes remaining in this half. Mark Murray with it. So the dummy half is Wally Fullerton Smith. Just over a minute remaining in this half. Queensland's lead is 14 points to 6. That's Dowling. Back over to Gene Miles. Can he get the pass away? He can. It's back to Vaughton. Vaughton taken care of by Steve Ella.
He's getting that one-arm pass away beautifully tonight.
Kinescu back to Murray, then to Lewis. What will he do? Let it go. Out to Meninga. Meninga cuts back inside. Now he gets it away. I don't know how, but Colin Scott is there. Meninga again as dummy half. Decides to power his way through the big centre. That's more like it, Mel. 5 or 6 metres out and the final tackle's on its way. Back to Lewis. Lewis going to put up the little kick, and why not? It's been pretty successful. Kenny goes up. Jack is there, and Jack will come down with it for New South Wales.
Oh, and not too good a call from New South Wales. 2 of them went up there, and they were both fighting over it. Anything could have happened there, as you can see. Look at this.
Kenny and Gary Jack both there. Mark Murray right in amongst them. Gene Miles waiting for any loose ball.
Typical pose there.
So now it's a drop out from underneath the goal mouth by New South Wales. And it's Cleal. Noel Cleal driving it deep downfield. Taken back there by Wally Fullerton Smith. Up the centre. Ray Price was the first tackler. Eventually Cleal the second. Here's the last chance for Queensland as a half-time hooter sounds. Lewis has a drop shot at field goal. It looks all right to me. And it is there. 15-6 at half-time. What a way to really ram it into them.
Oh, beautiful play from Lewis. And did not have much room to manoeuvre, I might add, Bill.
Not much at all, but he put it over. So Queensland lead by 15-6 at the half-time break, and a great performance from the Maroons under a lot of pressure. Scrums at the half-time break going New South Wales way by 5-2. Queensland getting penalty 6-4. There's the field goal on its way. Look at the height. It had everything. Straight through the centre. Referee Roberts had a look, no doubt about it. Blew the whistle. So it gives us a half-time lead of Queensland, leading New South Wales by 15 points to 6.
The champions unleashed evermore.
Well, Queensland completely dominant in that first half, and I think 3 tries to 0 is a pretty fair indication of the match. They followed on exactly where they left off last season, showing complete superiority over the Blues. And, of course, one of the features of that first half was, once again, Wally Lewis's kicking, capped off by that great field goal right on the half-time hooter. Along with me here tonight on the panel is a veteran of 25 tests, I think it was, Barry, wasn't it?
Yeah, that'll do.
5 seasons as Queensland coach, and Barry knows all there is to know about interstate football. Have you seen the first half?
Oh, certainly I agree with you there, Dave. Queensland have just dominated everything in attack and defence, and especially the big 3 of Murray and Lewis and Miles. They've got no answer for those 3 in New South Wales, and it's a long, long time since we've seen 3 players dominate players they did in that half. And, you know, our defence has been great every time. Sterling and Price and Kenny have tried something. Our defensive, Fullerton, Smith, Fortin and Needley have just cut that right out, and I just can't see New South Wales winning.
Well, I think you're right, Barry. I think Queensland are just likely to go on exactly the way they have done in this first half. As well with me tonight is another great little halfback, Greg Oliphant, and Greg's up here to make a few comments about just what New South Wales might do to get out of the predicament.
Well, it's pretty hard, David, but if I was Frank Stanton, I'd be trying to get my players to recover quicker. As we saw in the last trial, Wally Lewis is... Gary Jack failed to recover and he scored the try, but you know, I'd get them to be settling down and playing their own game. They're starting to panic there. A few of the younger players are panicking.
Yeah, well, that was the pressure we expected with this 30,000 crowd at Lang Park. And, of course, let's now have a look at a couple of the highlights of the first half. The first one, this great try by Paul Vaughton, and here we see a great break, firstly, by Gene Miles. Barry, Gene Miles doing exactly what he's done in club football this year.
Yeah, he's certainly in form, and he showed that. And, of course, there's Vaughton backing up, which is always handy there. But certainly Miles is a player that is really causing New South Wales trouble.
There we see Gene Miles going through again. And, of course, Paul Vaughton, a key member of this side, Greg, he's always played well, really, in these State of Origin games, and he gives us a bit of direction, really, doesn't he?
Well, he set the try up last year, the first initial try for Wally Lewis. He'd done the wrap around and picked up Wally out wide, and Wally scored on the post, and he's set the pattern again tonight. And he was under an injury cloud before tonight, and he's done really well.
Right, there was Meninga's kick hitting the upright, and it looked at one stage that it could be a significant problem there. Let's now take a commercial break, and we'll be back with all the action in the second half with Billy and Mick.
Here's the kick-off for the second half of the match. No changes to the team at the half-time break. Pretty interesting statistic here, Michael. In that first half, Queensland had the ball for 82 occasions, New South Wales for 63.
Well, we held on to it a little longer than they.
And got 3 tries into the bargain.
3 rippers.
So now let's see what happens in this second half. Queensland poised nicely at the half-time break at 15 points to 6. And I do think as a psychological move, the field goal by Lewis would really have rubbed it into New South Wales.
Oh, yes, it wasn't just a normal nail. It was a little old brass one.
There's Lewis back there with it now. A Sterling kick through. And over the top was Gary Jack.
Oh, dear. Jack getting away with a bit of blue murder on that occasion.
Yes, Mr. Roberts didn't see that one. Here's Meninga. Picking up to play it now. Dummy half is Kinescu. Back to Mark Murray. Tackler up there. First up was Wright. Second time round it was Brett Kenny.
Murray's showing plenty of dash, both in defence and in attack. Great to see.
That's Greg Dowling up there. 5 metres out from the New South Wales line. Kinescu away to Mark Murray, then to Lewis. Lewis back inside to Brian Niebling. Ray Price getting in New Jersey at half-time, playing in number 16 now. Lewis puts a little kick in, and it was a trip over there, I feel, or had a go at him.
Yes, he watched very closely, yes. Mr. Roberts right on the ball.
And a penalty to Queensland. We'll see it again. There's Lewis going through.
There's the trip from behind.
One wonders why international footballers would have a go at doing something like that, but that's exactly what happened. It went through to growth after that, but that was it. So a chance for Mal Meninga to get some more points for Queensland very early in the second half. Only 2 minutes of play gone by. They lead by 15 points to 6. Meninga missing that sitter, as you saw at the half-time break there. Right in front, hit the right-hand upright and bounced away. So 1 out of 3 for Big Mal tonight.
It's a wonder that Lewis hasn't brought himself on. If Mal, well, I suppose he's trying to kick him back into form.
Let's see what he can do with this one. Ooh, missed it. And shakes his head. And I'd say there'd be a little bit of consternation in the camp now. That's 4 points Queensland could have picked up. And Lewis might be forced to... there's Big Arthur up there. He might be on his walkie-talkie shortly. Anyway, here's the drop out now from the quarter line by Big Eric Growth. It's a long one. That's Cole Scott. Put over by Ray Price. Dummy half is Canescu. Over then to Paul Vaughton. Vaughton about 2 metres short of the halfway mark.
Hasn't lost his work rate as Vaughton, has he, since he's gone down and came back up?
That's Dave Brown. Canescu again as dummy half. Mark Murray. Lewis. Lewis with a kick. The line's wide open. It's only got to bounce properly and it'll get there, but I don't know whether it'll have enough. Yes, it will. Summed it up beautifully. Conlon was up with the play. Put the boot underneath it. Jack was over in centre field.
Price saying a few words to Conlon too. And there's Frank Stanton. Never looks a happy man at the best of times, but looking distinctly unhappy at this particular stage.
So it's the Mastery coming in again. Sterling. Paul forced back a couple of metres in the tackle. Nice and hefty. It was Niebling and Fullerton Smith. They've combined all night in several tackles, several driving tackles. Dummy half winding up there is Thompson. That's Craig Young. Man underneath was Niebling, over the, or rather Canescu. Over the top was Wharton. It's Cleo. Cleo put over 25 metres out from the New South Wales line. Away from dummy half, it was Pearce. Sending it back to Roach.
They're running into a maroon wall all the time. Great to see.
Dummy half right, Sterling, then Kenny. Kenny tackled by Meninga. Who's underneath? Mark Murray. There's a changeover. Gene Miles. Not much room to get through there. He'll play it now. Canescu is dummy half. Back over to Dave Brown. Gee, Roach will know about that one. Canescu back over to Mark Murray. Murray in turn to Fullerton Smith. Going through there is Canescu. Hetherington's on the field for New South Wales. That's Dowling. Ray Price over the top, Young underneath. We're only about 14 metres out now. There's Lewis. He's going to put up the bomb. It's a cross field. Over there is big Chris Close, lost in the in-goal area. Jack was the first one there. Sterling ended up with a bit of drop out from underneath the goal mouth.
On their lovely bombs, here's the replay. I tell you what, Kenny losing it. Oh, very close. Gene Miles was on the spot and just missed the ball, or that might have been a try.
So it's Hetherington on for New South Wales. Colin Scott back there for Queensland to take it. Scott will run it up. Chris Close. Still going Close. He's up over the quarter line. Still going. Block-busting run by the winger. Away from dummy half Canescu. Cutting back inside. Still going.
Ran away from his supports a little on that occasion.
Mark Murray. Vaughton. Lewis. Long one over there to Dowling. Dowling back to Miles. He's lost it. Scooped it back. Eventually Wayne Pearce will end up with it. Ella had a go also for New South Wales. Sterling. Price. 3 Maroons there to take him. Vaughton, Canescu and Murray. Had to be sorting out the man of the match, but Winfield had one here tonight.
Oh, they've lost the ball too, Bill. New South Wales.
Yes, Greg Canescu coming away with it. Penalty. There's something happened in there from Ray Price. Ripped it out of his hands. So does Meninga take the kick, or does Lewis decide he'll do it? Mel retains the job. Right in front of the post. I don't think the crowd will be helping him too much either, by putting on a bit of a rev. I don't know whether it's for him or whether it's for Ray Price. Could be Price. He's not terribly popular in this part of the world.
Actually, it might have been the hooker at fault on that occasion, Bill. Right. But no matter. 2 points possibly coming up for Queensland.
Now Ella has gone onto the wing for New South Wales. Has taken the place of Growth. And it is Hetherington into the centres. Growth hurt his shoulder in that first half. Here's the kick from Meninga. It's missed again. Waved away. 1 out of 5 for Meninga. Queensland hang on to a lead of 15-6. Well, they've got to do something now, I would feel.
Yes, you'd see a change now, and it might affect Mal's game if they try and... Well, even now it could be affecting it.
Colin Scott. Well, he hasn't done a great deal of kicking so far this season, has he, Mick?
No, not really.
I think, what was it?
Phil Vivas has been kicking for Souths on most occasions, and...
Well, leading up to this match, 12 goals from 19 attempts has been Meninga's tally. And becomes 13 from 24. Shot the average around a bit. Fullerton Smith up to the halfway mark.
Well, we could see a kick from Wally again here.
There's Lewis. Letting go again. It'll be a bit too far this time, though. Yes. Out on the full. So we're back to about 5 metres inside Queensland territory. 9 minutes of the second half gone. Queensland still with a half-time lead of 15 points to 6. Sterling. It'll be won by Queensland against the feed. That's Mark Murray. Trying to dodge across field. But not much chance getting through over there. It was Price and also Thompson, the tacklers. Gene Miles. Canescu goes the blind. There's Fullerton Smith. Canescu dummy half again. Over to Murray. Then Lewis. Miles has lost it. Going to be lost by Brett Kenny. No, knockbacks as a referee. So New South Wales just inside Queensland territory. Cleal, Young, then away to the front row, Roach. Dummy half is right. Young again. Back to Price. Price welled up, wrapped up.
Not too much support for the New South Wales player with the ball on that occasion.
Sterling on to Pearce. Oh, jolting tackle by Lewis. Jolting tackle by Wally Lewis. Stopped him in his tracks. There's Miles. Taking the next player coming through in right. Young from dummy half. Sterling. Thompson. He's going to put the little kick in. Cleal's lurking over there. Bounces off the shoulder of the Queensland player there. Picked up by Hetherington. Sterling. Then away to Brett Kenny. Flicks it back inside to Ella. Murray's underneath and Vaughton over the top for Queensland. Kenny from dummy half. Sterling. Away from Vaughton that time. Fullerton Smith over the top. That's the Queensland quarter line you can see. Young onto Roach. Roach got it. Lost by Pearce. It'll end up in Lewis's hands. Knocked over by Pearce. Hurt on the tackle, Lewis. Pearce is hurt too. A bump of heads, I'd say there. Pearce continued on after losing the ball. And Lewis picked it up, and you'll see, well, he crunched in right in the side of the head. And Pearce is a pretty tough customer. Lewis receiving attention down there now. By the way, Mick, we have our Try of the Match award from Electronic Sales and Rentals, an NEC recorder.
We just saw it again, Bill. He certainly did slam him in the side of the head.
Plus that 300 movie swap package. Entries in the Daily Sun tomorrow. Yes, he's got quite a bump to the head. Been in a bit of the wars all night. There's Arthur. Doesn't seem totally perturbed about the whole affair at the moment.
Well, at 15-6, he'd have to be feeling... Oh, look at the side of the head there. There's an egg popping out already on top of the cheekbone.
Lewis about to play it. The Australian team is named tonight, and W. Lewis will no doubt be number 6. And I'd say Mick, you'd have to be captain.
I'd say so.
I don't think it's giving too much away there, is it? He's going to kick the other side this time. Ella's running back to try and chop it off, and he will succeed. Takes it about 10 metres inside his own half. Runs up before he's put over in the tackle of Brian Niebling. So it's Thompson from dummy half. Sterling to Price. Price couldn't get the pass away. Sterling was backing up, but just a bit too dangerous, I feel. Right sending it away to Young, then outside to Cleal. Cleal 10 metres inside Queensland territory. Thompson back over to Pearce. Pearce on the bustle. Here's a go. Pearce back inside to Kenny. Kenny taken down by Fullerton Smith, but got his pass away to Thompson, then away to Wright. Wright will be held up by Bostead and also Miles over the top. But they're still on the go. Touched by the opposition. Another 6 tackles. Sterling back inside. That's Cleal. Cleal only about 5 metres out. That's only the first tackle gone by. Craig Young. Young forced back. Lewis and Miles in there. The man underneath was Canescu. Sterling from dummy half. Back over to Price. Price burrowing for the line. Gary Jacks up as dummy half. New South Wales only metres out. Over to Sterling. To Pearce. To Sterling again. Nowhere to go. Pulled to the ground by Mark Murray. This will be the final tackle. Over to Thompson. Going to be lost over there by Hetherington. And so the scrum coming up. But what a strong burst from New South Wales.
And what great defence from Queensland to keep them out.
Trainer out to have another look at Wally Lewis, but he seems to be okay. Scrum packs down. In by Murray, but a penalty New South Wales. Incorrect feed. And this will put some pressure on from here. The Queensland lead is 15 points to 6.
Well, actually, just looking at the game, it doesn't even seem to worry me about the Queensland defence. They've been that strong all night. I think they should hold on.
We're going to take the tap, New South Wales. Eager for points. 26.5 minutes to go. And right to Craig Young. Wharton and Murray there. Right is the dummy half. Back inside to Wayne Pearce. Pearce diving for that line. He won't get it down. Gary Jack up as dummy half. Over to Sterling. Sterling lets it go to Thompson. Thompson to Kenny. Kenny cuts back inside. He's dodging, weaving, doing everything. The pass rolls loose though. Dived out by Thompson. Right from dummy half. Over to the front rower. Coming through there is Roach. Dummy half right to Sterling. The little grubber kick runs into a wall of Maroons. Lewis trying to fight his way into the field of play and succeeds. Gene Miles away from dummy half. Sterling up there, the tackler.
And that was Sterling defence. They're playing well.
Now Meninga starts to cut it up. The Maroons rolling it up. They're 18 metres out from their own line. Gene Miles from dummy half. Over to Dowling. Then away to Mark Murray. Murray getting it on to Colin Scott. Scott almost to the quarter line. Greg Dowling. Niebling. Canescu from dummy half. Gene Miles, he'll put the boot into it. A towering kick downfield. Gary Jack will be back there. Takes it, drops it. Picks it up inside his own quarter line and decides to run it out. Run straight into Wharton.
And not running with as much steam as he started off at.
Hetherington is dummy half for New South Wales. He's taken the place of Eric Groth. He's gone into the centres. Steve Ella out to the wing. So now over to Sterling. Sterling outside to Craig Young. Young back inside, then to Cleal. Cleal wrapped up. Lewis over the top. Downing's the man underneath. Dummy half Sterling. Over to Young. Young put down just short of the halfway mark. Away goes the hooker in right. Sterling on then to Price. Price away to Kenny. Kenny with his pass over Hetherington.
Oh, nearly a shepherd on that occasion, Bill. Referee missed that one.
There's the changeover. Away from dummy half, Chris Close. Close crashing his way through. Up over the halfway mark before he's put down. He'll play it. Canescu. Murray. Canescu again to dummy half. Works the blind. Doesn't get too far, though. Roach straight in over the top. Niebling. Dowling. In underneath there was Wright. Niebling. Lewis. Niebling doubles around. Dummy half is Dave Brown. Back to Lewis. Lewis puts a little chip kick. It goes straight to Wayne Pearce. He'll dream about him tonight because he's got him on just about every occasion. Away from dummy half, Thompson over to Jack. Jack quickly claimed by Canescu. Right from dummy half, over to Young. Into the tackle this time is Dave Brown.
New South Wales don't seem to have any answer at all to Queensland's swarming defence.
That's clear. He's broken away from the tackle coming through from Dowling. Trying to get the pass away. Scoop back to Hetherington. Hetherington back inside to Ella. Ella in turn pulled down. He's about 8 metres from halfway. Right is dummy half. Queensland leading. It's 15-6 at Lang Park. Sterling back on then to Roach. Price dummy half. Sterling. Then to Thompson. Kick through by Thompson is going to find touch. And it'll bring play to some 20 metres inside Queensland territory. So waiting for this scrum to pack down.
I don't know if you feel it, Bill, but quite frankly, I don't think New South Wales can trouble Queensland.
Well, if they get it, oh yes, it's 15-6. Inverted try makes it 15-12.
Oh yes, I'm just looking at the general trend of play though.
Penalty to New South Wales. Just a reminder with David Wright, Barry Muir, and also Greg Oliphant back in the studio at the end of this game to give you a complete summary of the match. And that's when they'll introduce the try of the match for electronic sales and rentals. The NEC recorder plus a 300 movie spot package. Entry form in the Daily Sun tomorrow. Now, here's a go. This is Roach. Tackler is Canescu. 21.5 minutes remaining in the match. Conlon. Dummy half is Wright. Sterling moves up this time. They're only a few metres out, New South Wales. Sterling. To who? Gee, it ended up with Ray Price. Players went everywhere. Gary Jack. Sterling. Thompson. Over to Hetherington. Hetherington being chased by Gene Miles. He got away from Miles but went straight into Chris Close. So you'd be feeling good for 1 second. Ella to Sterling. Back to Ella. Ella on to Young. Young turns it back over to Thompson. Then to Kenny. Kenny tackle, but got it to Price. Price around the corner. Caught up by Wright. Wright got away to Roach. Then on to Cleo. Cleo will get in. Cleo running around is in for the try. New South Wales in for the try. Frank Stanton a little bit happier with things now.
And they got the overlap on us and kept the ball moving. And the crowd not too happy about the gun going off for a New South Wales try. As we can see here, a pass to the invisible man, but Brett Kenny able to get this pass away onto Price. Price around the corner. It was juggled, then flicked on Pearce, and then out to Cleland. He stepped inside and left the defence groping.
Well, they certainly moved it around, New South Wales, on that occasion. Looked as though it might break down on that time, but Thompson quickly swooped it up, got it to Kenny, and then they started up moving it again from there.
And it livened Frank Stanton up over there in the box too.
Well, let's hope it livens a few of Maroons up down there. Here's Conlon moving in for the shot at goal. He's put it over. So it's 15-12 now at Lang Park. Queensland leading with 19 minutes. So there's the kick-off again. Now we'll see some pressure coming on. Sterling across over there to Gary Jack. Chased by Vaughton and put down. Canescu into the tackle also. Dummy half Sterling. Sterling over to Price. Price on to Hetherington. Price back as dummy half. Over to Young on the blind. Then to Roach.
Just as well Roach didn't unload on that occasion. It was very dodgy for Queensland.
Thompson on to Cleal again. Out of the first tackle, that of Meninga. Then three of them come at him. Borton, Miles and Kinescu. Sterling. Over to Young. Young back inside to no one. Dived on by Meninga. Was it Kinescu? Kinescu under there. Now it's on to Mark Murray. Nowhere to go out there. Dummy half is Fullerton Smith. Fullerton Smith to Brian Niebling. Queensland leading New South Wales by 15 to 12. New South Wales scoring their first try just a couple of minutes ago. Lewis to Meninga. Meninga away to Kerry Bosted. Bosted down the touchline. Gary Jack coming at him. Bosted back inside. It is over. That's a try. Kerry Bosted in for Queensland just when they needed it.
Oh, and Arthur breathes a big sigh of relief and Tosser Turner sits down behind him. But boy, oh boy, didn't Kerry Bosted light up the blooming heels, mate. He flew down there.
And isn't he happy too, and why shouldn't he be? And out Queenslanders sneak away with a 19 to 12 lead. Murray to Lewis. Lewis with a long one, running onto a Meninga, let it go nicely, took the cackle of Kenny, and here's the little fella striding out a beautiful shot. Poetry in motion, steps inside, Tada Jack, over he goes and in for the try. And hasn't it livened them up?
I tell you what, wasn't it a great try? Real winger's try. Jack was trying to line him up, but he was too far away, too much speed.
Toe, I've never seen it. He took off like nothing on earth.
Oh, he flew.
Now changes coming on. Lindnick for Queensland, taking the place of Dowling. And New South Wales will be sending on Jarvis. I don't know who they're sending off as yet. But it's Lindner for Dowling. And won't Bobby Lindner love this?
Not a bad time to run onto the field at all.
Nal Meninga.
Better than running on if you were down.
A couple of metres to the left-hand side, and the ball goes away a couple of metres to the left-hand side of the uprights. Mel not having a happy night with the boot, 1 from 6. Queensland leading by 19 to 12.
They're not really. The kicks are not really needed, Bill. They're playing that well.
So now it's the kick-off with Conlon. Queensland scoring 4 tries to 1 here tonight. Colin Scott. And didn't that bring the crowd alive? It was an electrifying run, that one. Beautiful to watch. Lindner. First time he's touched the ball. Makes the most of it too. So Jarvis on for New South Wales. He's trying to sort out whose place he's taken.
I think Roach might be gone, Bill.
Yes, I think you're right, Michael. Can't spot him out there anywhere.
There he is, number 13, Roach. He's gone.
So New South Wales have used both of their reserves. That's Gary Jack over his head. Bobby Lindner's up there. Jack beautifully pinned down by Gene Miles. Dummy half Price over to Jarvis. Miles at him again. Playing it back to Price. Price over to Sterling. Then outside to Pearce. Crunching tackle by Fullerton Smith again. Craig Young back the other way. Thompson to Price. Queensland offence is busy as anything. 15 minutes remaining in the match. The Queensland leaders 19 to 12. That's Cleal. He's the try scorer for New South Wales. Jarvis can't get near it. The ball being towed through. Gary Jack back there. Jack running across field. Mark Murray coming at him. Crunches into him. Lindner comes in for extra support. So out to Sterling. Sterling's going to kick for touch. Bosted going back. Cuts it off. Bosted over the halfway mark. Straight ahead. Sterling from one side. Pearce from the other to put him over. Meninga. Can't get far. Dummy half Kinescu to Lewis. Not quite ready for it. Lewis caught one in there too. So out it goes to Dave Brown now. Brown taken by Jarvis over the top. The man underneath is Pearce. Played back to Kinescu. Murray. Then Miles. Miles is wrapped up. Hetherington underneath. The man over the top is the 5'8" in Thompson. Canescu, Murray with the kick this time. Jack comes across, ends up with it. Well, there's Lindner at him, and Lindner crunches him down. He's keen, he's hot to trot. This is his chance. That's Price. Lindner underneath, Borton over the top. Time ticking away, 13 and a half minutes remaining. The Queensland leaders 19 to 12. That's right. Dummy half is Thompson. Sterling. Juggle over there by Conlon. Picked up by Kenny. Kenny starting to muster space through there. Kenny up to the halfway mark. Murray's coming at him from behind. He's trying to push away close, but they both combine to pull him down. But a nice run by Kenny. And Frank Stanton yelling something. I don't know what he's about, but they're trying to keep it going here now. Working it around nicely. Ella the man with it. Final tackle coming up. Kenny back to Sterling. Over to Thompson. Thompson with a left foot kick across field a little bit. Conlon coming through. Taken by Bowstead. Flick back behind him. It'll be picked up by Cleal. Thank goodness Lewis is there to take him, ball and all.
Oh, great tackle, Wally. Changeover goes on.
Oh dear, oh dear. Here's Meninga. Meninga up to the quarter line. Bowstead is dummy half. Back over to Lewis. Outside of Niebling. Hasn't stopped taking it up all night. Neither has Fullerton Smith. So to Mark Murray. Dave Brown. Now the crowd's starting to chant Wally, Wally. Fullerton Smith.
Well, that's one Wally.
Dummy half Canescu. Queensland's leaders 19 to 12. This is Gene Miles. Gary Jack on his own quarter line. Dropped it. Has not had a good game tonight as Gary Jack.
Colin Scott looking very good for a green and gold at present. Look at him. A bit of claret running down. More pronounced. Here you see him making a complete... I nearly said the wrong thing then.
A mess, yes.
Yes, that'll do.
Scrabble pack down just near the New South Wales quarter line. A Queensland ball, but the referee wants it in again. In again. Mark Murray to feed. Queensland have won the only scrum against the feed tonight. Lewis away to Gene Miles, puts a little kick. Conlon is back there. Here's Gary Jack. Oh, that was Murray back to Gene Miles. Not sure what that one was about, actually. Sterling across there to Thompson. Jarvis driven back by Lewis. He got his pass to Pearce, though. Pearce knocked off balance in the tackle, but started it going, then back to, that's going to be a knock-on.
Right back in middle field.
And Lewis drove him back on that occasion. Scrum to pack down, just inside the New South Wales quarter.
And just as well, because that would have been offside for Ella.
So he is across to Lewis again. Flicks it around. Mark Murray had to lean forward to get it. But it took the pressure off Lewis a little bit. They were at him. Colin Scott obviously spurred up a little bit now. Dummy half is Canescu. 10 minutes remaining in the match. Lewis on to coming through there, Miles. Lewis again. Fullerton Smith. Oh, over the head of Scott, who can't get a hand of it now. When it matters, Thompson ends up with it. A little bit of indecision there in the Maroons camp. So it's Price away from dummy half to Jarvis. Jarvis bumping in and moving about a bit. Right from dummy half, Sterling. Then Pearce. Unloaded nicely to Sterling, but he's grabbed by Lewis and they've lost about 5 or 6 metres again.
There's no doubt about it. He's pulling a big one out.
There's nothing else they can throw at him now, is there, Mick?
No, I tell you what. He's starting to make a real easy decision for the boys up on the hill.
Brett Kenny wondering where he is. Is he at Lang Park or Liverpool? Or back at Parramatta? Now, here's Hetherington stepping out. But he's into touch. Oh, Boosted letting him know where he is. He nearly got photographers and all.
I tell you what, he finished him off.
No quarter given.
No, Hetherington thought he was going to ease up. Watch it. He thought, oh, well, he'll stop now. No chance. You're going into the turf and the fence impossible.
And a little boosted rather, driving into him. And comes across, penalty New South Wales. Murray not terribly happy about it. 8.5 minutes remaining.
It's the third time you've done that, son, since Mr. Roberts, but Mark, I don't think he's terribly worried about it.
Both teams have given away 3 penalties from scrums. Sterling. Penalties, by the way, not a great deal in it. Queensland getting them 8-7. New South Wales getting scrum 6-5. So possession pretty close. The big statistic so far. Queensland 4 tries to 1. There's the knock on.
Oh, Jarvis having a big look.
And Frank Stanton, the look of anguish on his face. Mark Murray. Ray Price is there to greet him.
Did you see, Wally? Take it away. Take it away.
Away from dummy half is Lindner. This is Canescu. Brian Niebling. Over the top was Jarvis, underneath was Wright. Dave Brown. Wayne Pearce getting high in the air as he tries to pull him down. Gene Miles with the kick this time. Gary Jack will be happy. It's back behind him. He'll have a bit of time. And he takes it.
He's had a bit of work tonight, as Jack.
Oh, and there's Lindner to greet him. Dummy half waiting for it this time is Thompson. Long pass to Sterling. Then to Jarvis. He's lost it again. Picked up by Sterling with a knock on.
Oh, and he's having a shocker, Jarvis.
And he's not very happy with himself either. Shaking his head, saying everything.
There'll be about 15 other New South Welshmen down there not happy with him.
There's a little bloke with red hair in a box over there wouldn't be too happy with him either. So Mark Murray with it. But the referee wants it in again. Oh, Murray. See how he goes with the scrum feed this time. Referee Roberts is happy with it. Over to Lewis. Lewis decides to work up the centre. Just couldn't get it to Lindner, who was skirting through. Mark Murray from dummy half. The lead is 19-12. The Maroons in the ascendancy at the moment. Mark Murray, they're taking plenty of time with it now. Trying to really close it up. Scott around the corner to Gene Miles, and he's in. That's the wrap-up one now. They don't need to take it easy from there. Big Arthur has another drag and says, you beauty.
Oh, superb work. And Frank Stanton, well, that's a photo of total misery there. But what a beautiful bit of handing on from Colin Scott. I tell you what, he had 3 or 4 to beat, as you'll see on the instant replay. Went slowly, then went through. Here it is. Canescu on to Scott. Now look, he stands him up. Now I'll go. And then he knew Miles was coming. And 1 for 1, you can shut the gate. The horse has definitely bolted.
And the man diving at him was Ray Price in a last-ditch effort to try and pull him down. But Miles was in for the try. Queensland's lead is 23 points to 12 now. And only just over 5 minutes remaining. By the way, we'll have the Winfield man of the match at the conclusion of this game. He receives $1,000, and he deserves it. And I don't think you'll have to be a genius to work out who it is. Here's Meninga, way to the left again. 1 from 7. Disappointing night with the boot for Meninga. But Mick, you're right. I don't think they need them now. But just imagine if they had, if Big Mal had been online.
It would have been a whitewash. Here it is, over. They only gave us a little bit of that, but oh, well done.
So now back we go with Paul Vaughton. Vaughton straight ahead, 23-12, the Queensland lead, 4.5 minutes remaining. Frank Stanton says, oh my goodness. Peter Moore wants to be back at Canterbury.
And Frank's thinking, I'm going to see a lot of these Queenslanders in that test side. And he definitely will.
So it's Dave Brown coming up as the dummy half. They're 8 metres short of the halfway mark. Mark Murray, Lewis stepping back the other way, then to Murray again. Murray going for a run up the centre, but runs into Sterling. 4 minutes to go. 23-12. Lewis, another kick. It'll find touch. Don't have to worry these days. And 23 metres out for the New South Wales line. The scrum will pack down.
Playing superbly. Hey, you know, the more I think about that Test side, there's not too many spots for Blues in there on tonight's performances, Bill.
No, it's going to be... I notice now they've moved Chris Close into the centres. And they put on French. French has come on now. Miles has left the field. French is on the wing. Is Brett French. And the referee to play a knock on there.
Wally got the ball back, but unfortunately Linda was steaming around to get onto it.
So Brett French gets a run. Gene Miles off.
He'd be the #1 centre picked.
Queensland ball.
And I'll tell you what, Murray would be in the halfback spot for sure.
Gene Miles is still there, so somebody else has got the scoot. Meninga's still there. It'll be, yeah, he's just taken the place of... No, Chris Close has gone in. We've got Boasted over here. We've also got Murray on the bustle through, but no support there. Miles has gone into the forwards. That's what the story is. And he's only a couple of metres out, so one of those forwards is off.
Smith's missing.
Wally Fullerton Smith, the man off. Right. So now they clear it to Lewis. Lewis across to Dave Brown. Brown all in, has lost it. Brett Kenny going back to tie back, but it'll be a knock on. Just over 2 minutes remaining. The Queensland lead is 23 points to 12. And get ready for this crowd to go wild at the end of it.
Haven't they performed well?
It's been a top-line performance. Defence has been the keynote. Mick, they've just never let New South Wales into it.
Oh, they've blistered them.
And another one against the feet to really rub it in. Lewis. Dummy half is Vorton. Another one before full-time wouldn't go astray, would it?
Not at all. Lewis will be captain of that side for sure.
Team comes out tonight. Ooh, won't get that extra try. Scoop back by Lewis. Going to be picked up by Niebling. Meninga's up as dummy half. 1.5 minutes remaining. Dummy half is Canescu to Lewis. Then to Gene Miles. Miles trying to get it back to Lewis, but he scoops it back again. Picked up by Niebling. Niebling on to Dave Brown, then to Vorton. Vorton trying everything to get it away, but going to ground with it. He'll play it. Scott dummy half to Lewis. Lets it go to Linda. Linda puts one through, then goal area. Boosted through it there! Bobby Linda, my goodness.
Oh, what a ripper. And look at Arthur, that's the first time he smiled this evening. That is the one that really nails him into the coffin.
Gary Boasted in for try number 3 for him tonight. And look at Bob Linda. You'd swear it was Lewis doing the work. Beautiful kick. Boasted steaming onto it. Here he goes. And Conlon says, my goodness, what is going on here? And what a way to finish it up at Lane Park tonight.
And isn't it great to see Linda become part of the action? He's dropped a couple tonight. I think that was just anxiousness trying to get into the action. But, oh, that was as cool as a cucumber. Here it is. Watch him go. They're not going to let him go, but he does eventually kick that ball. And I can assure you, here it comes, frame by frame, I'd say, Bill. Yes. Nope. And gone.
Gary Boasted getting an enormous reception from the crowd on the other side of the ground because that's his wing. And he's been, well, he's put in a big effort tonight. There's no risk about that. Here's Meninga. Can Mal get back on form for his last shot at goal?
Wouldn't it be lovely if he could put it over?
He's moving in now. The ball's on its way. It is there! And the look on his face, it says it all. Thank goodness. And there's a full-time hooter. Queensland defeating New South Wales by 29 points to 12. 29 to 12, and somewhere in the middle out there is a Winfield man of the match who receives $1,000, and of course it had to be Wally Lewis.
Definitely had to be Wally. What a superb game. All the Queenslanders played well, and I wouldn't like to be the New South Wales selectors trying to push their players up because they've got no chance. So
there it is, the full-time score. Queensland defeating New South Wales by 29 points to 12. Scorers for Queensland, Kerry Boasted, 3 great tries tonight. Vorton a try, Lewis and Miles getting over. A field goal by Wally Lewis. Mal Meninga, 2 goals from 8 attempts. For New South Wales, 1 lone try by Cleal. And also Conlon, very good with the boot tonight. 4 from 4 for Ross Conlon. The scrums of the match, they've ended up going Queensland way by 8-6, thanks to winning 3 against the feed, 2 in that last 10 minutes or so. Penalties going Queensland way by 8-7. New South Wales lost the ball on 14 occasions. Queensland on 12. They've just announced Wally Lewis to the man of the match. That's what the roar is all about. Queensland missed 16 tackles, New South Wales 14. Queensland kicked 19 times in general play, New South Wales 14, and that's the statistics of the whole match.
And the roar was that Wally Lewis will be the Australian captain.
Oh,
Bill.
I thought it was just man of the match, but he will be the Australian captain. Well, I don't think we needed to be told that. So there's a full-time score, 29 points to 12. David Wrights, Greg Oliphant, and also Barry Muir will be back there in the studio to give a final summary of the match and also the NEC try of the match.
The champions unleashed evermore.
Well, Queensland completely superior in tonight's match. The final score, 29 points to 12. An absolute thrashing for New South Wales. All their preparation over the last 10 days, all for nothing. They've got no excuses this year. The best prepared New South Wales side, at least for the last decade, if not longer. But really, 6 tries to 1, Queensland's night. And I thought the turning point in the match was that magnificent defence in the second half by Queensland when New South Wales really threw everything at us. We held our own and then came back to score 3 more tries. But first of all, let's have a look at the highlights of the first half. And of course, one of the first highlights in the very first minutes of the match was the punch by Dave Brown. There it is there, Barry. And of course, Artie Beetson had them fired up.
Well, that started it all off, and I thought that was quite a good effort by Brown there, considering he's a New South Welshman, and that really got the boys fired up. And I think that's the way a game should start anyway.
Certainly, Brown was throwing everything along with all the other Queensland forwards. Here's the try, the first try of the match by Vaughton. Miles straight through the gap, Vaughton back on the inside. And, of course, we've seen there that Gene Miles can do exactly the same thing he's been doing in club football all this season.
Yes, David, he really ran hard on this ball, and there were 2 good tackles there by Wayne Pearson. I think it was Peter Sterling, but his power just put him through the tackle and passed on to Fatty Vaughton, who went over again inside the post.
Of course, shows the importance of Vaughton to this side too, Barry, that he's always there to back up. Of course, Miles did all the early work, but you've got to have someone to follow it up.
Well, you know, it was between the 3 of them. It was great work by Koneski through a good pass, because that was another kick there missed by Mel, and I think he missed. I think he only kicked 1 out of about 7. I think.
Yeah, disappointing night there for Mal Meninga, but of course. Whilst he didn't play particularly well, there were plenty of tries scored by Queensland. Unfortunately, we didn't need the kicks. Further into the match, and not much further in, Queensland was starting to run wide, and it was Gene Miles once again with more busting runs in this first half, making sure that the New South Wales defence had plenty of problems. This is where we really started to get on top. I thought, Greg, after around about the first 10 or 15 minutes, Queensland seemed to get a little bit more latitude in attack.
Yeah, well, New South Wales had quite a lot of the ball, but they just couldn't break the Queensland defence. And Wally Lewis and Gene Miles just took over and dominated play. And it wasn't that New South Wales played so badly, it was just that Queensland defence was so strong, and the spirit in the Queensland side is very high. As you can see, they all stuck together and come up with a win.
Do you think, or how important do you think the fact that Queensland has been together now for 3 years with basically that side, Barry, and of course with that side, whilst New South Wales had all that preparation, it still wasn't enough to combat the teamwork of Queensland?
Oh, definitely not, Dave. You can say honestly now that Queensland is the greatest side in the world, and how sweet it is. You know, I mean, New South Wales have put everything into this one, and you know, they're all saying they've taken, they've had camps and dinners and all this business, but Queensland just stuck to their guns tonight, and New South Wales had dead set no answer for Queensland.
Well, they certainly didn't have an answer for Wally Lewis. The football wizard had the ball on a string tonight, and he put up this beautiful bomb right underneath the sticks. Couldn't be taken by Gary Jack, and Kerry Bostad right on the spot.
Yes, well, this kick from Lewis was in the right spot, as you said, David. And Brett Kenny, who's a renowned taker of a high ball, seemed to get in the road of Gary Jack there quite a few times, and there was Bowie going in for the second try.
Of course, Queensland had a long way to go after this kick, but Lewis, who had a terrific kicking game, found touch on a number of occasions, put the kick right on the spot there, and Bowstead, of course, on the spot as well to pick up that loose ball.
They didn't miss Wally after the kick either. Quite a few occasions he was decked, and you know, you expect a bit of heavy marking in these sort of games, but I thought they were a bit fierce there a few times, and I thought Kevin Roberts could have probably given him a penalty had he not scored that try.
I think it just goes to prove how much they realise the ability of Lewis, and of course he went on to win the player of the match in this game after copying quite a battering from New South Wales. And one of the reasons he did win the player of the match is his alertness. And just have a look at this try he scores after a great run by Bowstead down this right-hand wing. And didn't Bowstead have a great game?
Oh, great game, Bowstead. He was Johnny on the spot all the time, and as soon as they got out to the wings and Bowstead had a clear passage, that was it virtually, and he scored a great try after, well, just towards the end of the game. But here, once again, the magic of Lewis. There's no doubt about Lewis. He just mystifies New South Wales. They just don't seem to know what to do with him, do they?
He just looks a class above them. I think we're seeing, and I think what a lot of people have got to appreciate, we're seeing one of the best players ever to play the game. I think he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats, and he is really head and shoulders over anyone New South Wales has ever put up against him. Again, concerted attack by Queensland, and New South Wales always scampering back into position. There's Meninga, whilst he had a quiet game, did a great work there. Let's have a look at Lewis's try here. Ever alert, little wrap around from dummy half, scoots across, and of course he goes in very low. Lewis, a dangerous man that close to the line, Greg, and a very hard man to stop.
He's got a lot of power, he pushes through his legs, but notice Gary Jack there probably showed his little bit of inexperience, a new boy to the interstate competition, and failed to recover. And Wally picked it in one, and over he went for the try.
Of course, Lewis did leave his stamp on the game in the first half by putting a great field goal right on the final seconds of the first half after some good lead-up work by Queensland to get into good position. Lewis taking the ball from dummy half and really rubbing salt into the wounds.
Well, it was how beautiful it was, because once again, quick thinking by Lewis, and Queensland, you know, New South Wales, you think Stan would be saying, well, this fella, he just dominates the game, you've got to move up and knock him over, but they seem to look at him and he just stands there and whack over it goes for a one-pointer, and of course that's a good way to go into the half-time, you know, 15-6 in front.
That's right, Queensland having it well in control at that stage, and we've seen the best of Australian rugby league footballers on show tonight, and we get the first opportunity, of course, to see the Great Britain tourists tomorrow night. The first game that we'll see them on television when they play North Sydney in the National Panasonic Challenge match, and that's on at 10:30 tomorrow night. So that'll be a good opportunity to see just how good the Great Britain tourists are going to be and whether they're going to be able to combat the strength of, let's hope, a predominantly based Queensland side. Let's take this commercial break now and we'll be back with the highlights of the second half.
The champions unleashed evermore.
Well, with New South Wales sadly down at half-time, it was obvious that they had to strike back very early in the second session, and they were obviously going to throw everything into that, at least the first 15 minutes of the second half, and I'm sure that's what Frank Stanton's instructions would have been at half-time. However, Queensland got the first opportunity to score a try, and I felt it could well have been a try, disallowed by Kevin Roberts from a bomb put up by Queensland when Gene Miles, it appeared, got his hand onto a loose ball in the in-goal area. Once again, the Wally Lewis bomb.
Yeah, well, it looks a bit suspect here. I thought it was a dead-set try, and Gene Miles claimed the try, but referee Roberts was on the spot, and he might have saw something that we never.
This angle's a particularly good one here, Greg.
It really shows it up well there. He dead-set got a hand to it, and real disallowed, try disallowed, so you can only play by the referee's whistle, and that's the way the game went.
Sure, of course, that's one of the contentious issues at the moment in rugby league, the try scored from the bomb, and I think we all realise just how difficult it is for the referee to pick up what the slow motion replay can. And as I said earlier, I felt that one of the turning points in the match was just after half-time, Barry, where New South Wales really threw everything at us, I thought, and the Queensland defence was magnificent.
Well, that was dead set the turning point, because if ever New South Wales are going to get on top, that was it. And for 18 tackles, they had the ball, and Queensland just kept them out, and tremendous defence by Fullerton, Smith and Niebling and Vorton, well, the whole Queensland side. And, you know, New South Wales threw everything at them, and that was the end of it for mine.
And of course, with today's football, the way it is these days, with the changeover on the 6 tackles, it's very unusual to see 18 consecutive tackles, and as we say, that's exactly what Queensland had to endure. And ultimately, of course, they did falter, but it took a great passing movement from New South Wales where they kept the ball alive for Noel Clear to score a try. But it certainly wasn't a case of the Queensland defence wilting. It's just that I thought they had a little bit of luck, actually, in this passage of play with Rex Wright slipping away quite a neat ball.
They got the bounce of the ball on this occasion, David. It bounced off one of their players here. It's coming along the back line now, and they come up with the ball, and that's the way football goes, you know, and especially in one of these games. But I didn't think New South Wales were playing that badly. I just thought the Queensland defence was equal to the task, but the thing that impressed me when Queensland got the ball back, they attacked straight away. Sure. And they come up with a try.
Well, there was Queensland with their backs to the wall for that passage of tackles, and once again we saw Wally Lewis saving the day for Queensland. They really had their backs to the wall, and it really took some great defence to make sure that New South Wales didn't score. Greg, what did you think really about that part in the game? Did you feel that Stanton would have emphasised at half-time the importance of scoring first and getting Queensland on the back foot?
Well, sure, they had to come out strong, and which they did do. I thought they did come out strong, and as I said, full marks to Queensland. They took them on in every department, and I was talking to Arthur Beetson before the game, and he was a little bit concerned with their condition, but he said to me the spirit in the stateside was as high as it's ever been, and it really showed out there tonight, especially in the defence. And you know what it's like out there, and you just sort of got to keep pushing yourself, and that's what they did, and held on. And as I said, they got the ball back and turned it around with a try. And
I felt too, Barry, that really when it all comes down now, that the Queensland selectors have been vindicated in their choice of picking really a stopping pack, a pack that really blocked out any attack that New South Wales threw at us.
Well, that was really the turning point, as I said before, Dave.
This is
a lucky try here, yeah. They were just left for. They got away for a lucky try. Of course, Frankie Stanton's looking very happy. That's about the only time he smiled during the match. But good judges said to me today, especially in New South Wales, I said, if ever New South Wales are going to win a game, this was today. Well, this is tonight. And it just didn't. You know, New South Wales tried everything. They threw the ball around, they backed up, but it's just never on.
And of course, very important there for Queensland not to wilt, because once New South Wales had hit back, they got very close to Queensland on the scoreboard. And of course, it was Queensland the ones to hit back soon afterwards. And of course, that was so important, Greg, wasn't it? I mean, yeah. New South Wales getting the upper hand, starting to play a little bit better than what they had done before, and it was absolutely essential that we were the next ones to score.
Yeah, well, the Queensland side here, they really. The enthusiasm propelled them into a successful stage here. You know, they held the ball. They didn't worry about throwing silly passes and try and do too much. They just moved the ball out. They realised, I think Wally realised the New South Wales had really tired themselves out in the attacking Queensland, and just got that frustrated when they turned around and Queensland had the ball. Queensland come up with a try out wide.
The surprising thing to me here was that backline move didn't seem to be so sharp, Barry, did it? It was as if New South Wales wasn't moving up as fast as what they would normally do. Very
surprising. When New South Wales, they sort of just stood again and watched, and this was just a typical Queensland backline move, and bang, 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 straight out to the winger, boosted, saw daylight, and that was the end of it.
And probably, as Greg said there too, that whilst Queensland were very tired after that sustained defensive effort just leading up to that, it also had taken a lot out of New South Wales, because to run into that forward pack time and time again makes it very difficult. But that wasn't the end for Queensland. They went on to score another couple of tries, and the next one was from Gene Miles. And once again, Miles in devastating form. And what about this?
We can't forget New South Wales have got the casting vote.
Yep.
You know, and Queensland, the three are dead set going to fight, and the New South Walesmen are going to fight for their three, but somebody's going to walk in and go bang, and that's a New South Walesman.
Some good performances on the wing tonight. Eric Growth left the field injured, so he may be under a cloud there. Greg, what about the wingers? Who do you see is in contention for the wing spots?
Well, Kerry Boasted played himself into one of the jerseys tonight, and as you said, Growth may be injured. He went off the field injured tonight. I'm looking at either Growth or Meninga on the wings, mainly because they've got to come up with a kicker. But then again, if they put Growth in, they could give the kicking to Wally Lewis, the captain.
Because Lewis doesn't particularly like that duty. He does just about everything else for the side, and I don't think he particularly enjoys the kicking role over a recognised kicker, and could certainly do the job. Barry, what about your kicker in the side? Of course, they've got to pick a kicker, of course. Who do you fit in that kicking role?
Well, if they were going to take kicking tonight on form, they'd have to go for Conlon, and that's where I reckon the three New South Welshmen are going to hop in and say, well, we did need a goal kicker that can kick goals. Meninga's only kicked 1 out of 7. It's a pity, but they'll dead set go for Conlon for sure, and Boosted for mine's the other wing.
I don't agree with that, Barry. You know, Bowie made him look like a second rower out there tonight, you know, and he just left him for dead, and I don't think you could put him out there with the Pommies. You know, I think they'll go for someone recognised.
Well, the Pommies aren't much chop, really, are they?
Well, it's yet to be proved yet.
Before you fellas come to blows, I know there's one position that won't be any argument over, and that's, of course, now the Australian captain, the only position that has been nominated to date, and that's Wally Lewis. And what a great offer for Wally. And, of course, we all congratulate him up here wholeheartedly. A thoroughly deserved honour, and I'm sure he is now about to start on a stint of captaining Australia for a lot of years to come. And, of course, Barry, I think he'll do it with great honour.
Oh, no risk at all, Dave. He's head and shoulders above anybody in Australia as a footballer and as captain. Well, he's got the brains, he's got time, and he's a good leader. Yeah. And he is a footballer.
That's why I think I've decided to go for Mark Murray at halfback. I thought Murray played quite well tonight without being outstanding. Gives Lewis great service, but of course there'll be plenty of votes coming for Peter Sterling, and of course one of the dark horses could certainly be Steve Mortimer. Let's have a quick look now at the Australian forward pack, and Greg, who have you come up with there?
Well, I come up with Ray Price at lock, although he did give away a couple of foolish penalties. The second rowers, I've got Wayne Pearce and Paul Vaughton. I think they need line breakers, and although Wally Fulton-Smith and Brian Niebling would not let Australia down, and they did a great job tonight, but I think they'll go for Pearce and Vaughton, but I'm no expert, you know. This is only my side.
Well, they've got to go for Price, but honestly, Vaughton played all over the top of him tonight, but they won't go for Vaughton because they'll go for Price and he'll be vice-captain. Pearce is a certainty, but Fullerton Smith, for my money, you've got to have him there because a couple of his pole drivers against the Poms and they say, get me back to Yorkshire.
Yeah, well, Barry, Vaughton's the next West man, mate. You've got to put him in there. He's got the red hair and it blends in well with the green and gold.
You had to say it, didn't you?
Well, looking at the front row then, and of course some great efforts by a couple of Queenslanders there tonight. Dave Brown put up a good performance, and of course Greg Dowling, it may jeopardise his chances that he was taken off late in the game. He played strongly, but I know, Greg, you fancy Craig Young for one of the front row positions.
Yeah, not because he's playing all that well, but I feel that in the hooking spot, Greg Koneski will get it, and you're looking for an experienced prop against these Pommies, and you know, Craig Young's never let the Australian side down, and the selectors realise this, and it's a big game. I'm not saying Greg Dowling's hasn't got the ability to do the job, but I think Greg Koneski would be better off with an experienced prop like Craig Young leaning on when he goes in against some of those hard-headed Englishmen. And I've got Brownie on the other, the tight head side.
Right. Do you think now, in retrospect, that they gave Rex Wright too hard a job and they may have been better off with Ray Brown in tonight's match?
Yeah, well, I think they did, but, you know, the only player you could probably bring up was Ray Brown. You know, they haven't really got a form hooker down there at the present time. Roy Simmons is going okay for Penrith.
Sure.
But, you know, Greg Koneski put it all over him.
Right, a couple of positions we have jumped, of course, is the centre positions, and one fella is an absolute lay-down misere, a player that I guess I never really appreciated his ability. He's playing far in excess of whatever I thought he was capable of. Gene Miles, he'll be the first centre picked, and it'll be interesting to see who his partner is, Barry.
Yeah, well, once again, they'll go for Kenny, for sure, but, you know, Mal Meninga certainly, him and Miles together are a tremendous pair. You know, they'd be terrific against the Pommies, but they'll go for Kenny again because they know he's rated as one of the best footballers in the world, and the Pommies really, well, they really give him a rap in England, but, you know, I think they'll go for Miles and Kenny, but it's a pity to leave Meninga out.
Well, you can see the problem the selectors are going to have tonight. Here's three of us just sitting around the table, all Queenslanders, and we can't decide on what the side should be. We've got a casket ticket on it, so we'll have to wait and see what the selectors come up with. Let's now have a look at the electronic sales and rentals try of the match, and this was a try scored very early in the match, Queensland's finest try. Once again, we see the devastating work from the Queensland side.
this is a great burst. I think this was really, this was the try that really crushed New South Wales when it happened.
There's quite a couple of good tries in the match, and it's pretty hard to make a decision.
All you have to do is fill out the entry form in tomorrow's Daily Sun. The winner will receive this NEC video recorder plus the 300 movie swaps from Electronic Sales and Rentals. The winner will be announced on Sunday's Rugby League show. That's all we have for you tonight, and of course that is only the very first game of a great representative season this year. We've got another 2 state matches, 3 test matches, Queensland playing New Zealand next week. So all in all, a great representative season coming up, and it's all on Channel O. And to bring it to you from the studio will be myself and of course Barry Muir and Greg Oliphant, and thanks for your help tonight, boys.
Pleasure, Dave.
And good evening, everyone. I really hope that you've enjoyed the game just as much as we have, and we'll be bringing you more action as the season progresses.
All hell's broken loose. It's war, not truce. The heroes and the villains take the field. See them live and watch them rumble as the mighty league men tumble, and the victors and the vanquished never yield.
Join the champions unleashed, the champions unleashed, the thousands as they rise and as they roar. For the muscle, sweat and strain, they pack in every game. The champions unleashed,